James Pearson again, talking about some more pads. A pad, or actually it's called a mute, that I use a lot, is made by Sabian these days. It's called a quiet tone drum mute. I first saw these pads back when I was in college and studying with Tom Van Arsdale at Murray State University. And he always had them on the snare drums in his office. So when we would take lessons, the marimbas up there, we would go down to a different room for timpani and stuff. But when we did marimba or snare drum, they were on stands in his office on top of the snare drums. And I was just always really taken about how cool it sounded, because it just took a regular snare drum sound and it just muted it, brought it down quite a bit. So originally, this quiet tone pad, what it is, it's some kind of a cork, whatever. It's got a real drum head on it and a real rim, and it's got these feet that sit on the drum. So the original one I actually got from a drum shop. I can't remember which one it was. I think I might have ordered it online. This is before it was taken over by Sabian. There's the original sticker on it. Quiet tone drum. So this is the one I got back when I was in college, after seeing Tom had one. So if I just play the pad by itself, you can hear it. Now this one's tuned down a little bit. I've got a circle in there because when I used it for teaching, I would try to make sure people played in that area. The other one I have here, the newer one by Sabian, this is tuned up quite a bit higher. And the idea behind that was I was using it for a little bit more of some of the modern playing. And I actually use this on drum set a lot because I have a kid across the room right now that has the Remo mesh heads on there, on the floor tom and the bass drum and the upper tom. But the snare drum, I keep a real head on it, and I lay one of these on there so that I can play brush work or anything like that if I want to. So they're great in that aspect. But I wanted to show you what's cool about this. Again, you get a real rim. You can tune it how you want and everything. But what I like about it, I want to grab this snare drum here, put a snare drum in my lap. I've got a Yamaha fiberglass FRP. So if I hit this drum, if I put this mute on here, and it's got some clamps that will hold it, so I'm going to have to be careful how I hold this. It's semi off camera, I'm sure, but so you still get a great snare sound. You can do buzz work without the mute by itself. And if I put it on the drum, it just brings it down to a level that you can talk over. And obviously in the college setting, part of it was to make sure we didn't disturb the people in the room next door, the other offices and whatnot. So it's a pad for me that I've used in several of the videos I've shot over the last year, that I'm going through rudiments and talking about how you can use words to teach and whatnot. So you'll see probably at least half the videos I've used that pad on top of a drum so that I can talk over it while I'm recording without having to have this snare drum blasting the sound through the phone or whatnot. So the quiet tone drum mute by Sabian, I'm a huge fan of it. That's where you get them now. I think they come in 10-inch and 14-inch sizes. I've never bought a small one. I've always just bought the 14-inch. And again, I like them because I can practice brushes on them. I can practice drums on it. I can work on, a lot of dynamic level type things on orchestral type drumming or anything with this pad. And because it does get that snare response when it's sitting on top of a snare, that's why I like this pad so much. That's basically it. Just if you're going to try to crank it down and get a marching type thing, it's not really the pad for you for that. It's not designed for that. You could lay it on a marching snare and whatnot, but it's just designed for a good overall feel and getting a snare response or whatever drum you lay it on. So, or even just lay it again. You can actually just lay it on a table because of the feet on the bottom, and that's fine. So you can get the pad by itself, or you can put it with a drum. Either way, it's great. Quiet Tone by Sabian, great product.